Start with number one. If your friends and family were to ask you about the car business, the good and the bad about the car business, how would you answer them?
Friends and family asking me about the car business.
You'd say, hey, what's the good thing? What's the bad thing?
Probably, well, I'm kind of a people person, so I get to meet new people every day. I enjoy that, develop friends and lifelong customers, so that's always cool. The bad, I mean, there's always days when you don't sell cars, and that can be kind of rough.
Okay. That's it. Just some days you don't sell cars.
Some days you don't sell cars, and it's kind of rough. You beat yourself up, but.
Okay. From a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your reliability?
Like a 9.
9? What keeps you from being a 10?
There's stuff in life that happens, and occasionally, whenever stuff like that does come up, you can't.
Okay.
You know, like family, for instance.
What do you know about finance and their daily duties, and why do you want to work in that department?
Man, it's a tough question. Their daily duties. I understand that they have to clean deals, send packets to banks and stuff. They have to be organized, work with customers. From the sales side, truthfully, I see it as something they have to be able to bump a customer. You know, a big thing for me, like being on the sales floor and selling cars, is I have a lot of time to build rapport with customers and earn their trust, you know. With finance, I think that's something that you have to be able to adapt and make a quick friend, you know. I think people always like buying from friends more than anybody else. So if you've got like a 30-second window, you have to build rapport from the time you get the customer to taking them back to the office. And I've always been one to make fast friends. So I think that's something I could potentially excel at.
What's your main reason for wanting to work back there?
Truthfully, when I first started here, the first interview, one of the questions that they asked me was, do you see this as something long-term or something that, you know, you're just doing for now? And for me personally, I've always said it's something I want to develop a career out of. And I could stay on the floor and sell cars for, you know, God knows how long, and be like some of the other guys down there, but I don't see that for myself. I think I have a lot of potential, and I want to potentially progress and move up within the business. I think that'd be something cool.
Okay. Of everyone else on the floor, who else do you feel has the best chance to get the promotion, and why?
I would say Brian.
You'd say Brian? Why?
He works hard. He's great with customers, and I could just see him doing really well.
Okay. What makes you the most qualified for the position?
I think I'm a little bit better. I think I'm better with customers. I think customers typically like me a little bit better. There's, you know, rare instances where customers are not happy with, you know, the deal after the fact, and when that happens, I'm usually pretty good at smoothing them over. For instance, yesterday I had a customer that we sold him a car last week, or 2 weeks ago. He got tags in the mail, but he had personalized plates, and he calls me just angry, like furious. I was able to cool him off. Hey man, calm down, it's not that big of a deal. Got with Jesus, we got it all squared away. I drove to his house yesterday. We talked further about the situation, why he was upset. I expressed concern and understanding, and then got the situation handled. Now he's happy and gave me a 10 out of 10 survey.
Okay. What skills and strengths do you feel you bring to the department?
You know, I'm a fast learner. I think my history here can kind of prove that. We went from somebody who was, you know, 100 and I forget what it was per copy, pretty not impressive, to somebody who's learned how to hold some gross and make some money. And if that's not an example of somebody who can learn pretty quickly and develop and adapt, then I don't really know what is, you know.
Yeah, I give you that. And ironically, Brian, you, and Obed all applying last year. All three of y'all finished at 164 cars. Well, 164 was Obed, 164 and a half was Brian, 164 was Obed, and 163 was you. So all within a car and a half, but you had a little bit higher per copy at 2143. Huge improvement. So, and I do remember that, 126.
I told you.
Yeah, good job. Of all the finance managers we have now, who do you feel you would be the most similar to, and why?
Okay, man, that's a tough question because I can see similarities between a few of them. Kennedy's sense of humor and the way he interacts with customers is a big one. I love money, and I know Shane does too. God, that's a tough question. I think...
Or would you be a mix of them too?
Well, yeah, and Jesus probably as well, because he's a young guy who gets after it and gets it done. And he's done very well for himself, so I can identify with that. It's kind of tough, man. That's, who am I most like? That's a little bit of a difficult question because I can see similarities. And
who are you least like?
Steve.
And that wasn't trying to get a shot at Steve.
No, for sure.
If you can't figure out who you're most like, who are you least like?
Yeah.
Okay. Put these 4 words in order of importance to you. Okay. Money, recognition, promotion, time off.
Money, number 1.
Okay.
Recognition, be number 2. Time off is last, for sure. Promotion would be 3.
Okay. What changes do you think we can make on the sales floor to make it more successful?
I don't know, maybe a system of, the phone calls can be kind of a difficult thing. And I'm not saying no phone calls. I think that they should be made. Absolutely. I think there maybe an order in which people can take ups versus make their phone calls might be a little bit more beneficial to some of the folks on the floor.
Okay. So like some kind of a log.
Not a log. I don't know. Maybe like, I guess a time slot, something. I don't know. I know personally, it's like there's times where I'm sitting down and I'm busting out my phone calls and I look up and I see somebody pull up in an old Tahoe and I go, and then they crack them, make 10 grand on it, and I'm like, wish that I wasn't,
Yeah. It's okay. Have you ever disliked a manager here, and if so, why?
Absolutely. Lee Ford. Oh, am I supposed to do
Go
that?
for it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Lee Ford. He was extremely condescending, and when he dealt with customers, it was I didn't feel in a professional way. He would kind of belittle people, and I didn't like that at all, especially with people that I had built rapport with and developed a quick friend, because it's somebody, I don't know, when that happens, you start to, I don't know, I just didn't like the way he dealt with people. It was very unprofessional in my opinion.
Okay. Describe how, if you're a team player, and what approach it is you take to working with the team.
Being a team player, I think ultimately the team comes first whenever you are a team player. It's not about me and what I can do, it's about what I can bring to the table as far as the team is concerned. So if that means helping somebody out with a deal or something, and not expecting anything in return, that's something I'd be happy to do.
Okay. What method or processes do you currently have that help you avoid errors?
I take notes. I make reminders in my phone. I use word tracks fairly often. Some that I've learned online and some that I've developed myself that allow me to not make mistakes within car deals, for instance.
Okay. What's a mistake you've made here and what did you learn from it?
Trying to think of a good example. I made plenty of mistakes. Let me think. I think one of the mistakes, and this is yesterday, for example, when we had the meeting about not, going to the desk with negativity. I think that's something that I've definitely done, and I've been prone to do it too when getting a pencil. And I don't know why I do it, but it's something in my head. I start just word vomit, and I start saying all the negative things about it instead of just going straight out and delivering that. And that's something that it's like when I'm up there and I get it, all the negativity comes out, but as soon as I leave the desk and I'm on the way to the customer, it's all out the window. And I think when I do that, it reflects negatively on the manager as well, like you had mentioned before. And that's something that I've learned from, but I'm still adapting to, for sure.
Okay. How do you feel the sales staff would respond if you were the applicant picked for the position?
I think a lot of them are pretty happy. I got a lot of friends out there.
You do? What do you think your coworkers and managers think about your work ethic?
I'd imagine they think that I'm pretty on top of my stuff. I have a tendency to use humor that can probably give some ideas about work ethic, but I think the proof is in the numbers. If I show up and perform, then perhaps that gives a different impression as well.
I agree with you on that. I think that's a pretty good assessment. I think sometimes, even me looking at you, you're always joking, and I feel like you're not working hard, even though you may be, and you're right, your numbers are there. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Let's see, in 5 years, I will be 31, almost 32 in your position, hopefully.
Okay.
That'd be the goal. Somewhere in upper management. That's the idea. It's a career for me.
Do you feel you deserve the promotion?
I think so.
You didn't seem too convinced.
That's a tough question. I feel like I put in the effort, I put in the work. I'm somebody who sets goals for themselves, and in the last 2 years since I've been here, 2 of the goals were to get my GM ring, and the other one was to get Salesman of the Month, for instance. And that's why,
You just hit it.
Yeah, and with an asterisk, I guess, is that what it's called, an asterisk?
Why would you say an asterisk?
Because the other guy, what's his name?
You got it.
I got it.
You got it.
Well, then I accomplished those goals, and one of the goals is to move into a finance position. Now, do I think I deserve it? Sure. I feel like I do.
Okay.
I feel like I put in the work, and I've proven myself as somebody who's worthy, but that's a tough question. I mean, I feel like I have, but
Do you feel like anyone on the floor deserves it more?
no,
Okay.
I don't think so. It's a weird thing. Maybe I'm thinking about it on a spiritual level, which might be kind of a weird thing to bring up in interview. I think my personal beliefs, you deserve nothing, you get what you're granted from, up there. So that's why it's a weird thing.
Okay. Shane, anything?
The only thing that we talked about other people, different mentalities and stuff. You know, when people asked us for names, your name was brought up, but the only concern was, is he going to be professional enough? Now, not around you all the time like he is, you know, and some of the numbers that you mentioned, wasn't aware of. So as long as you can separate the two and perform, that's really the key, is you just got to be able to perform. As long as you think you can perform and do the work, you know, you can be the clown if you want to. But there's going to be times where you've got to reel that in because it doesn't work with every customer.
Absolutely.
So,
Anything more?
I've never seen this side of you. More of a professional, not laughing all the time. So I will say it's kind of refreshing, you know, especially like he just said, you have to perform. Seeing more of this from you, I think other people at work here would need to see that, especially if you did get the position. I think it would be good for people to see a more professional, not always laughing. Not saying don't laugh, right?
Of course, but
seeing somebody who's more serious sometimes when need be get the position. Absolutely. Instead of thinking they can just play around all the time.
Of course.
Let me piggyback off that real quick. When you came and told me that you wanted to apply for the position, the way your words said the words that came out said you wanted to apply, but your body language and the way that you said it was like, I wouldn't pick me, but I'm gonna throw my name in the hat and hopefully you'll pick me. It's kind of like you weren't really, I didn't feel like you were taking it serious. And, you know, sitting at the table, being honest with each other, until you just interviewed right now, I really wasn't taking you that serious either because of that right there. So to his point, it doesn't work with everybody every time, right?
Absolutely.
There are certain things you gotta be serious about, okay? I have two more things to go over and then we'll be done. One of them is, one big concern with you is tendency to fold, and you kind of touched on it when you said you get in your own head and it rubs off negatively. What you have to understand is when you're in that box, that's what you're living. It's going to be 100% bumping customers and getting uncomfortable. And comments been made how when it gets uncomfortable, you tend to fold. What's your response to that? Do you agree, disagree?
I would say I disagree, and the reason why is 90% of my life has been getting in uncomfortable situations and coming out of them, overcoming and growing. Again, in situations where I do come off negative, when I'm in front of that customer, it's the opposite.
Okay.
I think that's where growth comes from, and I think getting uncomfortable is a huge thing that I thrive in.
Okay. Final question is, how do you feel if we were to choose someone else for the position, how do you feel you're going to respond?
I would be okay with it. I would understand. If it wasn't supposed to be my position, then I wouldn't be heartbroken. I would be a little bummed out, obviously, but it would be motivation to grind and try to prove myself so that whenever another opportunity came up, I'd be able to jump at the chance.
Anything else you want to bring up, or any benefits to having you?
I mean, truthfully, I think I'd be I think I'd be a good member of the team. I think I'd perform well. I love the opportunity, and
Say, pick me.
Yeah, pick me.